So here's a story we'd never, ever, ever see in the U.S. about our leaders, even though we should. Disgraced former South Korean president found guilty in corruption case and sentenced to 24 years in prison. Wow. So let me just give you a little snippet here of what they say. A South Korean court has found former president guilty on multiple counts of abuse of power, bribery, and coercion, and sentenced her to 24 years in prison. The president abused the power which was given her by the citizens, the judge said, adding a tough sentence was needed to send a firm message to the country's future leaders. Now that is true, and that is what Obama did not care about. Remember when people were like, so are you going to prosecute Wall Street for what they did? Fraud being a business model on Wall Street? I mean, we know that they did fraud and they tanked the world economy in the process. Are you going to go after them? Well, we look forward. We don't look backwards. Are you going to go after the Bush-era war criminals who did torture and held people extrajudicially and did offensive wars against countries that didn't attack us and killed a minimum 200,000 civilians? Well, we look forwards. We don't look backwards. So by that logic, you should prosecute no crime ever, because every crime, by definition, happened in the past. So what a non-argument. But that's what he did. Why? Because power protects power. The elite protect the elite. And that's the way it works here. But apparently, in South Korea, you have the judge makes crystal clear, oh, no, we have to punish you strongly because we need to disincentivize this action going into the future. We did not disincentivize this action going into the future, and now torture is just another campaign issue. You know, hey, you want to talk about abortion? Let's talk about abortion. You want to talk about taxes? Let's talk about taxes. You want to talk about torturing people, which is a violation of U.S. law, the Constitution, and international law? Sure, it's just a matter of opinion. So some people are for torture, some people are against. It's just another issue, you know? For us, I mean, God forbid another country openly talks about torture. Regime change, they're fucking madmen and criminals. But when we do it, no, it's just another issue that's debatable. You know, just like went right back to deregulation and cutting taxes for the rich, letting Wall Street get away with whatever the fuck they want to get away with again. No doubt they're committing fraud again. But hey, we didn't prosecute it, so you didn't disincentivize the action. There's no slap on the wrist. There's no reason to not do the crime again because they're going to run out the back door with all the money again and tank the world economy in the process. But in South Korea, they said, no, you're a criminal and we're going to fucking punish you because we're going to disincentivize this stuff from happening in the future. They continue, Park was found guilty of 16 of the 18 charges she faced related to massive influence peddling that removed her from office last year, as well as the prison sentence. She was also fined $17 million. Now, this case is actually a little weirder than it sounds because the article lays out how was like this cult leader who was, basically getting favors from the president. And she was, I don't know if it was like giving subsidies, giving tax money, or just favoritism, government favoritism through special tax breaks or whatever it may be to this cult leader. And so there was some sort of favoritism going on where there was a deal where this cult leader was getting support from the president, and there were other business leaders involved. In fact, the guy who I think is the owner of Samsung is involved, and he got a prison sentence, but it's a delayed prison sentence of like 5 years, but they reduced it a little bit. So there's a weird case going on here, but the bottom line is, here you have an instance where corruption happens, and they go, we are punishing it, and we're punishing it in a strong way. Here, not only do we let them get away with corruption, that's the way the whole system functions. That's campaign finance in the United States. But also we let them get away with war crimes, we let them get away with crashing the economy, everything. I mean, the way our elections work is you have people who are generally elites, and then they go to the financial sector, they go to Wall Street, for-profit health insurance companies, big pharma, so-called defense contractors, the military-industrial complex. You raise money from all these special interests. You get elected. You pay those special interests back in the form of corporate welfare breaks, corporate welfare checks, and special tax breaks, and no big government contracts, and all that. So the whole way the system functions in the U.S. is corruption. It's the entire system is built on it. Why do you think it is that Congress has about a 20% approval rating on any given day. Because people know, okay, we're always voting for the lesser of two evils, and then they get in there and screw us. That's the game. That's how this works. So even when you just elect them, massively unpopular, how could that be? You just elected them in what's supposed to be a democracy. Because everybody knows it's functionally an oligarchy or a kleptocracy. So wouldn't it be great if we treated our former leaders like this and let them know that, no, it actually is true. We like to say in the U.S., justice is blind. So it doesn't matter if you're mega rich. It doesn't matter if you're white or black or any of this stuff. Justice is blind. You commit a crime, we're going to punish you. Even if you're Mitt Romney's son, it doesn't matter if you're him or some kid who was born in Harlem to a single mother. But unfortunately, we know justice is not blind. Justice has 20/20 vision. And justice picks who gets away with it and who doesn't. If you're rich, hey, maybe you have affluenza. You know, maybe you're the DuPont heir who raped your daughter and then don't even get prison time. This is shit that actually happens. Maybe you're a war criminal and you're responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths, but we hold a fucking, we hold a ceremony where we talk about your awesome contribution to the country. This is where we're at. Wouldn't it be great if rule of law actually applied? Wouldn't it be great if this was our country and we're talking about dragging Dick Cheney or George Bush out in handcuffs? I think it'd be awesome.